Well, now this is too adorable. 6 pickets total, costing not a lot to build and selling for $80 each. Just like pancakes and kids, the first one is always a throwaway. This is going to be a rather quick build because I have orders to fill, but I've got faith in you, baby. I've got faith in you now, and it feels like... To build this, you simply cut the pieces out using the provided cut diagrams. Rip that little sliver down on the table saw. Apparently, I had set mine to 1.5 inches instead of 1 3/4. Set your saw over to 45 degrees and recut any dog ears that you may have overlooked. To start, I'm taking both of the 12 1/4 inch pieces and all 4 of those 30-inch pieces, and that is going to be the box construction for our bench. So just take both of your 30-inch pieces. I line them up so I can see the edge of them on my workbench. And then you're going to take one of these boards, put him on the side, take another long board, kind of balance him. He can hang out there, it's fine. And this guy, so they're going to be like this. Whoa. And this guy's going to sit right like that. Now, for him, I'm going to use a Titebond 3. It is their only waterproof exterior glue. And I like to just put a very little bit, just so it's like if I was at Subway and they put this much mayonnaise on my stuff, I'd be upset. So that's how much I am using. And that is just because when I tip the board up, I don't want it all to run off. So if you put a bunch of glue on there, it's going to fall off and be messy. So then we are going to smack all of that together. Push all of our boards so they are touching. And then take your nails. Come on back, nail counter. We're ready for you. If you guys would like to guess how many nails this is going to take, my guess is 60. It's not a super big build. I always undershoot it. So 60. Now I'm going to just put these 2 pieces clamped together. Make sure your fingers are at a safe distance. Put 3 into him, 3 into this side. And then I go ahead and put 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 into the bottom boards. And then I just kind of sandwich, hold everything together. Spin him around and repeat that process again. And then I go ahead and run a couple nails down the side of here. That's just one about every few inches does the trick. And there is the main frame of our box. Now, when we get completely done, there are a few scraps if you guys want to add in a little bit of bracing into the bottoms. We will go over all of that here in a little bit. Now it is time to add in the legs. Now these are the 2 front legs, the little 16-inch pieces. And when I'm putting these guys on, I made the mistake on my first box of smacking them at the very top as high as I could go. And then when I went to add in the arm, it just looked a little silly. So I didn't like it. Now this guy, I am going to go ahead and measure down to put him 4 inches and then nail him into place. So I mark a spot for 4 inches. Just get him kind of squared where I think that'll be a lot better. Then you get this squared up. Nice, looking good. And I usually put 5 or 6 nails under these. And I do rotate the direction of the nail. If you put them all straight in, it's easier for that board to pull away later on. If they're fired in at different directions, it kind of gives a little bit more strength. And we will repeat it for this next side. And it's not a bad idea to shoot a nail into the outsides. When I built the bigger planter boxes, they do have a tendency for this outside to want to blow out just because of the weight difference for the dirt. So if you do put a few nails into the ends, it will help to strengthen everything. Yeah. Oh no. Guys, I missed like every single one of these nails. If you have a nail shoot out, you guys can just go ahead and pull that. I usually fire another one in next to it just to kind of give it some support. And then you guys are just going to come in here. It's easier if you can kind of pull just straight down or just knock them. Grab hold of them, pull them out a little bit, grab hold, smack it with your hand, and it pulls it out. Instead of pulling on it, prying on it, and ripping up your wood, just let the nail. On to the next step, which is going to be the backs. Now, the backs, I'm not putting the second one up there yet. I take my handy dandy level and I put them to here. And the reason is, if I put this leg a ridiculous amount, I'm going to see that it's a ridiculous amount away on the level. And if I get everything lined in place like that, I know that this bottom is perfect. And I know that when I flip it up, this will be perfect. So to get the legs an equal distance, you could measure them if you wanted to. I just throw a level on there. It's a little quicker for me. And then again, I tip that board up, throw some glue. It's like I'm hiding the glue from you. Handy dandy square. Now, we use the square just so the boards don't get all cockeyed at the end of the build. Nailer in place. Repeat for the other side. And again, if you guys target a few nails to go into this board, it will strengthen the overall sides since there's not a lot holding them into place. Then I continue to put the pieces onto the back. The next one is actually going into the center. Now I'm going to find the center of this board, which if it is 5.5, it is going to be 2 3/4. And then find the center of your bench, 31 1/4. Okay, 30, 31 1/4, which gives me 15 5/8. So right here. And then again, I am going to put him down. Actually, I need to spin him a little bit. Now I'm going to go back to using this square, and I want to make sure that all of these peaks are an equal distance apart. So that's actually going to put my board a little ways up. I couldn't get around that because of waste. So this is where it's actually going to get nailed into. Make sure that he is centered. Tip him up. Put some glue. Tip him back down. Make sure again that he is perfect right there. Also put my square here, and I can see if it is in line on this corner and this corner to see if he is straight. Right there he is straight. Just eyeball it, I guess. He's perfect on the top. And we're going to go ahead and shoot some nails into him. He is now perfection. For our next piece, I just eyeball it so that it looks like it is centered. Like so. I just kind of make sure that the lines look good. Looks pretty good there. So I'm going to go ahead, put some glue underneath there. Push them back down. Push them up so he touches. And then repeat that process for the very last one. I've got a smaller square, but I don't. It's not gonna help. There is what's starting to look like a bench. Next is the dog-eared armrest, and those are just going to sit right here, so flush with this board and this board since they are both the same size. For this, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue right here. Again, not an over-the-top amount, because when you push that down, if it all squishes out, it's going to be gross. I butt mine up against the back and then gently set it down onto the front. It being level does not matter at this point. I'm going to shoot a nail into here. I can't see anything to shoot another nail. So there will be 2 more nails right there. Give me a little bit. Then I set my level onto here, drag it so it is level. Then holding it in place, I fire a few nails in from the back. 3 should hold her in place. And repeat that for the other arm. On the back, I am adding that 1.5 inch piece of bracing, 1 3/4 inch if you followed the plans correctly and know how to use a table saw. So for this, I just set it about 4 inches, 5 inches down from the top, and then make my mark so that it is about 1.5 inches to 2 inches into the back so that you don't see this face of the board if you're at the front of the bench. Now, once you have it centered kind of where you want it at, just go ahead and make your mark, and then we are going to cut that on the miter saw. If you guys wanted to add a second one a little farther down, we have the material to do so. So I just get the board about where I want it at, flip it down, carefully squirt some glue, and then I tilt him up so you can see it all running down the back. Squish. That held in place. Come back down with your square. Just make sure she is looking good. And then 2 nails into each should be enough. Like that. She looks off kilter. What's going on here? What's going on? Yeah, that's where she goes. Right there. There is one, and then you just add the second if that's what you want to do. And lastly, if you guys want to take that third piece that we had ripped down, you could add in a little decorative leg bracing into here. Again, an option. The armrests are a little low, but she's pretty.